I pulled the trigger, and the blast from my new 500-yard range rolled through the valley like thunder. Up on the hill, behind the scrub brush, I saw Karen, the president of our HOA, drop her binoculars and clutch her ears before scrambling back to her house like she'd just been ambushed. This wasn't surrender. This was a grand opening. Welcome to the Freedom and Defense Border Gun Club. And no, I wasn't going anywhere. My ranch sits on 36 acres of wild country along the southern edge of the state, with views that look stolen from a Clint Eastwood film. It's more than a home, it's my fortress, my freedom, and the place I've poured sweat and soul into. That is, until the HOA came knocking. She showed up in pink, all fake smiles and real malice. Introduced herself as Karen, the newly elected president of the local HOA.
We're just here to ensure the neighborhood stays safe, clean, and in alignment with community values,
she said, eyeing my dusty pickup, a few free-roaming goats, and the old wood barn I was restoring. I pointed to the old iron post with the weathered sign, "Private agricultural property, not subject to HOA regulations." Karen just smiled like she knew something I didn't. But from that moment on, the siege began. First came the fake fines, notices for having unauthorized livestock, excessive noise, and even unsanctioned paint colors on my barn doors. All bogus. I was off their jurisdiction. But it was just the opening move. Then came isolation. My feed deliveries stopped arriving. One driver told me a woman in pink had intercepted him at the gate, saying the ranch had been sold. Guests started getting turned away by private security. A buddy of mine, a combat vet, drove 3 hours to help me fix a roof leak, only to be interrogated for an hour by committee volunteers. Then came the psychological games. Trail cameras appeared in the trees near my fence line. Drones buzzed overhead. One afternoon, my dog Gracie sniffed out a sausage stuffed with nails thrown onto my land. That's when I realized. Karen wasn't just playing petty games. She wanted me gone. One foggy morning, I was sipping coffee on the porch when another drone hovered right over my head. I grabbed my old .22 and brought it down with one clean shot. It crashed 20 feet from the porch. Guess what I found in the wreckage? A tiny HOA sticker. It read, "Visual monitoring approved by committee." That drone wasn't surveillance. It was war. I cleared out a stretch of land along the border, 400 yards of tangled brush, rocks, and mesquite. Did it all by hand. Then I built a berm, a sloped dirt wall backed with stone, angled toward my side, a natural bullet stop, a line in the sand. 2 weeks later, I laid down benches, put up shade cloth, installed targets. Above the gate, I hung a wooden sign that read, "Welcome to Range 7, Defenders of Freedom." The first shot shattered a plywood silhouette. The second rang off a steel plate. The third echoed through the canyon like a sermon. And the HOA finally listened. She showed up flanked by 2 men in suits and aviator sunglasses. One introduced himself as a community lawyer. They tried to serve me a cease and desist. I didn't take it.
You're violating noise ordinances.
On my land, and the only ordinance I follow out here is the Second Amendment.
This isn't freedom, it's terror. We have families and children.
Then teach them what liberty sounds like. They filed complaints with the county, sent code enforcers. But I was clean. My range met all legal requirements. And as a veteran, I had special rights to operate a private training facility for self-defense and instruction. Every permit was in place. So I didn't just continue, I expanded. Friends dropped by to help train. We grilled meat over open flames, ran drills, shot targets until sundown. A few local cops even stopped by not to issue citations, but to squeeze in some practice. About a month later, the HOA staged a peaceful protest right at the border of my property. They set up a little tent and speakers, hung signs that read, "Stop the militarization of the neighborhood." I didn't argue. I didn't even speak. I just walked out, wearing my old cavalry hat, hoisted a flag with an eagle and the words "Molon Labe," and fired 3 blank rounds into the air. The crowd scattered. Karen tripped, lost a shoe, and screamed something about lawsuits. 2 weeks later, she was voted out. The new HOA president sent me a gift basket with jerky and a thank you card for inspiring civic engagement.